Hello.
Okay. Hello. Thank you so much for joining us today at RG Podcast. This is Isaiah Diesel, joined with Mr. Lee. Is that right?
Yeah,
Mr. Lee?
Lee Rogan. Yeah, Lee.
Mr. Lee from the UK. The UK. You guys say Kai or K?
K.
Okay.
Definitely
Well,
K.
thank you so much for joining me
Pleasure.
tonight here. I live in South Korea. I
Yeah.
believe it is morning time there in the UK,
Yeah,
UK.
11:30. Yeah, 11:30 a.m. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, before we get into the actual meat of the conversation, I would like to have a quick friendly fire round where I'm just going to ask you some random questions and you try to answer them as quickly as possible. Okay?
Go on, yeah. No problem.
Okay. All right. So if you could be any animal for a day, what animal would you want to be?
Eagle.
Eagle. There you go. A bald eagle for America. All right. All right. Top three greatest British bands of all time.
Beatles, Oasis. Wow, it's a tough one, the third one. Beatles, Oasis. Ah, blimey. I don't know a third one. You know that. I'm going to say Beatles twice.
Duran
That was that
Duran.
good. Duran Duran are good,
Duran
yeah.
Duran's number one for me.
Yeah, they're good. They're good.
Uh, okay. Here we go. Greatest horror film of all time.
Omen trilogy, three of them for me. I'm not a horror fan. I'm a massive movie fan, but the Omen trilogy, the original three, beautiful.
Okay, all right. And here we go. Last question. If you had to own any giant feline, what feline would you want to own?
King of the Jungle.
All right, lion. All right. So before we get started here, we always like to ask, what is your religious persuasion?
Okay,
You could define
so
that for me, and then we could.
that's very, 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 very easy. Um, Millions and billions of people throughout the ages and throughout the centuries have claimed that their gods exist. I do not believe any of those claims, so I'm an atheist.
Mhm.
I don't
Okay.
claim there's no
And on a
gods.
scale,
Like
okay.
I say,
So on a
I do not claim there's no gods, but I do not believe in any of the God claims.
okay. Okay, so on a scale from 1 through 7, 1 meaning you believe you know that God exists, and 7 meaning you know that God doesn't exist, where
I'm a
would you
six.
rate yourself on that? 6.
I'm a
Okay,
six.
that's fair. And
Absolutely.
even docking,
He's a
that's called
seven.
a docking scale.
Yeah, yeah.
No, 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 no.
He's
He
his
called
scale from 1 to 8, isn't it? He's a seven, isn't
no, he called himself like a 6.8 or something like
he?
that
Yeah. So
because it's pretty unreasonable.
yeah. I'm the same as him, exactly the same as him. Absolutely.
Okay, all right. So can I ask at what age you developed this belief?
It's a lack of belief, but I've never believed in any god. So from the earliest
Really?
time I can think of, it's a lack of belief. So it's
So,
it. I don't.
so,
I mean,
so
I
you
learned
believe
about the
that?
Greek. Say again.
Oh, go ahead.
Go.
No, finish, please.
So at school, obviously, I learned about Christianity, Hinduism, Sikhism, Greek mythology, and it was taught as a lesson. It wasn't taught as fact. So I learned about all religions, and there's no evidence for me personally that convinced me that any deity, god, demigod, or whatever existed.
Deity.
I see them as stories. Yeah.
I love that. The deity. I love your. So, what part of the UK are you from exactly?
An hour from London, an hour north from London, second city, Birmingham.
Birmingham. Yeah, actually. So I said the Smiths. The Smiths. Let's see. Duran Duran, the Smiths, and probably Oasis would be my top three. But one of my favorite songs by the Smiths, he talks about Birmingham in there. So, all
Okay,
right.
yeah, I'm not the
So,
Smiths. Yeah, it's pretty good.
okay. So I'm going to tell you flat out why I wouldn't debate somebody about whether or not God exists. Okay, you ready for
Go on.
this?
Yeah, go on.
Okay. One, there's a couple of reasons why, but one is that even if I was able to win you in a debate, it's like I see myself as in a lose-lose situation. One, if I lose the debate, obviously I've lost the debate. But two is that even if I win the debate, it is very possible to push you even further into a realm of either disbelief or lacking a belief, or whatever you want to call it, however you want to phrase it. It is possible to get you more entrenched into that kind of thinking if I am just concerned about winning a debate with you, you know. So
Well,
to me, that's not.
Well, I don't think anyone wins these debates because there's no evidence. There's no evidence for a God, in my opinion, and there's no evidence. We can't prove any gods exist, so we can't prove fairies don't exist. We can't prove the Not Less monster don't exist. Things like that.
Oh, the Loch Ness monster. He's from the UK, right? He definitely exists. Was he
in Scotland?
Okay, yeah, he's that's technically the UK though. He's technically a British. I'm just kidding. But okay. So the point being is that I've had experiences that have 100% over convinced me that there's a God. Okay. If you haven't had, if you haven't had those experiences, then it would be unreasonable for me to try to get you to believe in a God, because there's a big part of the gospel which is just experiential. So it doesn't really make any sense.
Could I ask you a question? Okay, so you've had experiences. Are you fallible or infallible? Are you a fallible human being?
Human. So, absolutely.
So your experiences are personal to you. Does not mean they're true in any way. That's all I'm saying. Okay. They're true to you. I'm not saying you're lying, but I'm saying you could be wrong. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, so I'm not going to debate that with you, because I will just tell you this, that the experiences that I've had with God, they have been confirmed via other people. So I've had God speak to me and then confirming it with somebody else. So, but again, though,
hang on. So you say you've had God speaking to you. That's a personal thing to you. There's literally no evidence of that. So I kind of dismiss that, really, because there's literally no evidence of that. I could clearly say now. I could say now I've got the Loch Ness monster speaking to me right now, and he's speaking to me, and I'm going to tell you that's just no evidence at all.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
But okay, this is why I'm telling you I wouldn't debate you, though. These are the reasons why I'm telling you, because I've been thoroughly convinced of it. There's nothing you could pay me that would make me deconvert, and you would have to kill me. You would have to burn me or stone me or crucify me.
Yeah, so that's good. I can admire your convictions, but people have been convinced over millions and millions of gods throughout the years, and they're willing to die for all sorts of reasons. Doesn't mean it's true in any way. It doesn't matter how many people believe or how firmly they believe. Does not mean doesn't mean it's true in any way.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is why this is like a bit of a dead-end argument. So it's. I mean, okay. So I will tell you one thing, though. I will tell you one thing, and then I want to get into what we want to discuss on this topic.
Okay.
All right. So I will tell you one thing. When I was growing up, we had my parents forced us to go to church all the time because they were ministers, and I would be in there. Indoctrination, absolutely. And even when I didn't want to go, and my mom would always tell me, like, "Oh, if you get an earring, I'm gonna cut it off your ear, and if you get a tattoo, I'm gonna burn it off." I mean, it was.
Sorry,
so I wound up getting all.
Can I just ask you a question there? Now, do you see that as child abuse? Because I certainly do.
Child abuse?
Any form of indoctrination is to a child is child abuse. That's how I see it.
I've been subject to child abuse in many different ways, and that would. Allow me to finish, bro.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I've been subjected to child abuse, and I'm telling you, if that is child abuse, that is the most mild form of child abuse I've ever experienced.
Yeah, mild. No, mild, but not. It's still child abuse. And can I just add? Sorry, can I just add? People who indoctrinate their children, and some of the children have been really, really affected because they're told that if they're naughty, or they can read in their Bibles or whatever what they read, that if they're naughty, they're going to go to hell and burn forever. So that has affected young boys and young children and young girls, and some girls, and it's evidenced, committed suicide for the fear of going to hell. And these people that indoctrinate their children over this fear do so without any evidence. So they're telling their children, or they're pointing to a book that clearly states that they're going to go to hell if they don't follow certain commands or whatever. Then they do that without evidence. So that, to me, is absolute child abuse. That's all I'm saying.
Hold on. Let's just unpack what you just said right now. 100%. You said people commit suicide
they have
because
done,
they're afraid of. Wait, hold on.
I know it's a misnomer, but they're in fear. They have done that. It's a fact.
Okay, so let me finish. People commit suicide because they have a fear of going to hell. Is that what you said?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I get the in joke, because suicide is the first way to get to hell. I get the in joke, but people have been scared to death, been depressed, and then they've killed themselves, hung themselves, or whatever. And this has been, there's documents of this all over. This has happened. But I get your point that if they did believe, commit suicide is the first way to get to hell. I get that.
Yeah, well, you know what? I do got to say this, that my mom did always used to tell me that if you committed suicide, you would instantly go to hell.
Yeah. So where did you get that from?
Bro, the R in this podcast is for respect. So you got to let me finish, okay?
Sorry.
Before you come in.
Go on.
Respect, humility, empathy. That's our podcast title. So yeah, no problem. See, because then it causes me to lose where I'm at. And I'm very scatterbrained. So, okay, let's just say this. I have not read anywhere very definitively that if you commit suicide, you would go to hell. Like, you could probably imply it some places, but I will say this. Let me finish. I will say this. Had my mom not indoctrinated me with that, I 100% would have killed myself. So even though I'm not sure I'm not exactly sure that it is, okay, you're just going to go to hell, because I think God is a merciful God. But on the other hand of that, I can honestly probably saved my life, because I'm certain I would have killed myself. But yeah, go ahead.
So your mother told you that there was a hell without any knowledge or without any evidence. To me, that's indoctrination. But why would any parent do that?
Well, I will tell you this. I wouldn't do that to my daughter, because the kind of indoctrination that my mom did, she inadvertently turned me into like a promiscuous alcoholic person, because I have all the world. I could show you. I have all the world religions tattooed all over my body. So I don't think I would have gone that route had my mom not done so much indoctrination on me, I went out of my way to do as many drugs and drink as much and be with any women I could get my hands on. So, but I do want to transition to the topic that we wanted to discuss, because we did get into, we did get into it briefly, but the topic was actually about slavery. So if you could go ahead, if you have any questions you'd like to ask or make any statements, I'd love to hear from you.
Yeah. So the first statement, the Bible clearly states in Exodus 21 and other places like Leviticus that you can buy and sell people as property. Let's just start with that first statement. Do you agree that any time in any world there's any context that it's ever moral to own another human as property?
I believe right now in the context of the world, it's definitely immoral, but I would have to know the context of another place to know whether or not that if you're going to say at any point at any time. I mean, like for instance, I would say generally vaporizing 100,000 people, that's generally a bad idea, but it's generally an immoral thing. But when you have a case like Japan in World War II, who simply was not going to, they had a samurai culture mentality that they would rather die than to surrender. Well, whenever you have you have that context, suddenly vaporizing maybe 100,000 people doesn't seem as bad whenever you realize that maybe 1 million people can die if you have to go on through a full-out invasion. So I think there's a context you need to consider.
Well, I'm asking you, what context can you ever think of that can justify owning another human as property that you buy and sell and pass over to your children? I can't think of one.
Okay. So,
and it doesn't give one in the Bible. It just says you're allowed to buy and sell slaves. humans as property.
Okay, so let's be very clear. Whenever you're mentioning Leviticus
and Exodus,
you're very. Oh, let me finish the thought. The Leviticus is very specifically talking about you know, a very specific group of people. So let's say I sent my wife a text message, and then I said, "Hey, you know, let's get it on tonight," or something like that. And somehow or another, I accidentally sent it to you, or you read my wife's phone, and then would you say to me, "Oh, Isaiah, let's get it on tonight"? You would understand that that message was very specifically for my wife. So you wouldn't think that it was going to apply to you now. You wouldn't tell someone, "Oh, Isaiah was trying to hit on me today," because you would understand that that message was intended for my wife. So when people talk about getting tattoos or eating shellfish, that's like irrelevant to a Christian. It's not even relevant to a Christian, because that statement was given to one people.
Yeah.
You know?
So just to put it into perspective, I'm not talking about the other. I'm not talking about the 612 commandments, 613 commandments. Anyway, I'm talking about slavery as written down in the Bible, and it applies to Jewish slaves and non-Jewish slaves. So Jewish slaves, you had to let them go after 50 years. That's the Jubilee. But non-Hebrew slaves, you can keep them for life, and you can buy them, sell them as property. Now, there's no context, and there's no getting away from it, that this was fully condoned by the Bible.
Okay, so let's unpack this. Okay, let's unpack what you're talking about here.
Yep.
So the first step is going to have to be is what exactly is wrong about slavery, especially from the paradigm you're operating in, where man has come about from evolving from lower life to getting on top of the food chain. What exactly is wrong about slavery in this context? Explain that to me, please.
As a humanist, as a secularist humanist, I don't want to be owned as a slave or be beaten for life, and I'm pretty sure you don't. So why not treat people how you want to be treated, or alternatively, treat people how they want to be treated? So do you want to be a slave as in the rules set down with the Bible?
No.
So why should they?
Okay. So let me ask you. Okay, then let me phrase it in a different way. Do you believe that animals, like chickens, do you believe that they want to have their babies stolen and fried in frying pans and cooked into stews and so on, turned into fried chicken? Do you think that chickens want those things to happen to them?
That's just a false equivocation.
Answer the question, please. Just answer the question.
I'm
gonna walk you up a ladder right now. I'll walk you up a ladder.
There's no way of knowing what a chicken thinks, so I don't know. I don't know what a chicken thinks.
So if you see a chicken, if you see, let's say we have 5 cows, and one of the cows sees in a butcher line that the cow before him dies, and as soon as you start to inflict the pain as soon as you start to slit the cow's throat, you can clearly see that he's in pain and he's bucking and kicking. And so it's very easy logical deduction to see that this cow does not want to happen what's about to happen to him, right?
Yeah,
correct.
That's
pretty easy.
But cows have not come together in a society and made any rules. Now, in spite of the Bible, men have tried to eradicate slavery in spite of the Bible, not because of the Bible. And I know these aboligists were cited as Christians, some of them were, but in spite of the Bible, we've now made slavery illegal. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but I'm saying slavery is illegal. So that's in spite of the Bible, yeah? Because we've come together as a society and made those rules. Yeah.
I'm just trying to get to the underlying assumptions of why exactly slavery is wrong, okay?
Because as a humanist, I don't want to be treated as a slave, being beaten forever, being sold, passed down as property, nor do you. So why should I, as a humanist, inflict that on others? Why would I do that? So I'm here for the betterment and the procreation of humans.
So you would definitely say then that we should make a distinguishment between humans and other animals, correct?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. Because we've
Okay.
come together
Okay.
and we've made our own societies. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right. All right. So I'm just trying to get to the underlying assumptions, and then we could start to unpack this.
There's no assumptions. These are facts, aren't they? I'm not. What am I assuming? I don't understand what you mean by assumptions. I'm not assuming anything. I'm just giving you. I'm asking you to read the Bible and ask you what context
Yeah.
did
Well,
you think of
okay.
where someone could be owned as property is a good thing.
So I'll give you a very easy context right now, and one context is to understand that in Genesis 1, we're told that humans and animals were created to be vegetarian. Okay.
Right.
So this is the original state that nothing was supposed to die, like nothing. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is where it's starting. And then if you take a look, if you jump over to the end, you take a look at the first chapter and the last chapter, a state of vegetarianism arises again. So in fact, the Bible describes heaven as it's saying that the wolf will lie down again with the sheep. It says they'll like eat together. All right. So this is the context. I have in Genesis 1, I have vegetarianism starting off, and I have the end, vegetarianism starting. So nothing's going to die in that sense.
Okay.
So now there's a lot of messed up stuff going on here. There's wars, there's genocide, there's rape, there's all this stuff that's going on. And I will say this, if you're asking my theology, some of this stuff you kind of have to guess about, if I'm being honest with you, because yeah, as a humanist, some of this stuff looks really bad. You know, it's kind of, unless you're like a psychopath, you wouldn't really be okay with most of the stuff that's happening in the Old Testament, right? But if you understand that context, that whatever is happening in this time is happening for a reason, and it's happening to teach us some bigger lessons in life, I would say. That's how I would describe it. Preparing us for something after.
So why did your God make laws about eating shellfish, but it was okay with slavery? Just does not make sense, and there's no evidence of the Genesis or creation. So I dismiss that out of hand.
There's no what?
There's no evidence of Genesis or creation.
Okay.
So I mean, I don't really
okay, that's fine.
I don't really.
I'm at least explaining to you. I'm explaining to you the theology. That, I mean, you can reject it. That's fine. You can reject it, because it's kind of ironic that atheists both simultaneously say, "Oh, well, you know what? The Exodus, the Genesis, that never even happened. But hey, all that stuff that happened in there was really bad anyway."
At least the story is bad.
You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah, no, the stories are bad, and the God the God character in the Bible is an absolute monster. The God character in the Bible is an absolute monster.
So it did happen, or it didn't happen. And if it didn't happen, then why do we need to have these conversations?
So there's no evidence. There's no evidence of a God, but the God character is an absolute, evil person. Yeah. Well, God, whatever you want to call him. But there's no evidence of any God or anything like that. Yeah. No evidence of the Exodus.
He's not evil. So he's not evil.
The character is, yeah. Like Harry Potter's a good guy, yeah, but he's not real. So this is how this is how atheists see all gods. Zeus, for instance, yeah, evil and good, whatever, but he's a character. The character. There's no evidence he's real, but the character, like James Bond.
The character is bad. Okay.
Yeah, the character is a bit of a narcissist, yeah. Not real, but the character is, yeah.
Of Zeus?
Well, we see the character of God in the Bible is a real mass murdering genocidal maniac.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. So let's let me ask you something. So I just want to show you this right here. It says Juche. All right. So Juche is an atheistic philosophy that is based in materialism.
Sorry. I'm gonna have to pick you up again. There's no theistic philosophies. All atheism is a lack of belief in God. That's it. Every other atheist thereafter is different. So there's no atheistic philosophies, yeah? So just tell me philosophy. You've got a philosophy. It's not an atheistic one. It's a philosophy, yeah?
So what if I told you this? What if I said, hey, Lee, black people aren't humans, okay? And then you think in your mind, oh, well, black people aren't humans. That probably means that I could either commit genocide on them or I could enslave them. And I said, no. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. But the reality is that that is an implicit thing that would follow if that's what you actually said. If you actually believe that black people aren't humans, that's something that you would be a logical following from that. Okay. So here we go. Hold on. I'm just saying that's a hypothetical situation right there. So if you tell me that there's not a God, if you say there's not a God, or I don't believe that there's a God, and atheists do believe that there is not a God, they just won't say it because it puts a burden of proof on them, which they don't want to go through. Okay.
Correct.
So you believe that, and you believe that we came about by naturalistic evolutionary means. Okay. So if that's the case, then it does not matter, because I was trying to tell you this is a North Korean communistic philosophy. Then Kim Jong-un's fate is the same exact fate as a Martin Luther King Jr.'s Martin Luther King fate. Okay. So your whether or not you live as a saint or a humanist or a mass murderer, your fates are exactly the same. That is a truth that has to follow as a result of the things that you believe in hardcore materialism. And so you may not like that, but that is going to follow. So you cannot just say we just reject one thing, because things are logically going to follow as a result of that, and that's one of them. That's a very dangerous thing to tell people. Very dangerous.
You're missing the point there. All atheists do is just don't believe in God claims. That's it. Every atheist thereafter has got their own different beliefs. Some are racist, some are homophobic, some aren't. So there's no atheist philosophy. Atheists don't believe in God. That's it. Everything else is completely different to every person. So there's no atheist. There's no atheist doctrine. There's no atheist books that enable atheists to believe. So there's humanists, there's dictators or whatever, but there's no atheist philosophy.
So let's put that aside for 1 second. Let's go to the point that I was trying to make. Okay. So this is a North Korean. Okay, I'm not going to call it an atheist. It's a North Korean philosophy that is based in atheism.
No, it is. It's a communist dictator. He just happens not to believe in a God. He's a communist dictator. His ideology is communism. He happens not to believe in God.
Yeah. Okay.
But,
so
Hitler was a Christian.
I got to make the point, because you keep interrupting. I can't make the point.
Okay, go on.
Kim Jong-un, Kim Il-sung, his grandfather, believe in their minds that they are genuinely superior to their fellow underlings. Okay. So I'll tell you this, I got to go there on 2 occasions. Now, I did not become a Christian as a result of this, but I was an atheist when I went into there. And they put you in like this area where you can walk on, like they have paths where you can walk on. So when we were walking, we came up to an intersection, and we were given very strict instructions not to talk to the North Korean people. Okay, they'll like fine you, or maybe worse. But as we came to this intersection, we were looking at each other's eyes, and we're like, oh crap, like do we go? Do you go? It was really scary. So as I left there, the guard came and told us to go, by the way. But as I left there, I was like, I've never seen a situation where human beings were told you can walk in this area and not on that area before. And I thought the only other time I've seen something like that was whenever they herd cattle and sheep or cows, okay? And in like when they're doing a rodeo or they're going to sell them. And so at an auction. So I thought, well, under my belief system, these people are just an animal that's evolved. And so what if Kim Jong-un wants to do these kind of things to them? It was actually Kim Jong-il at the time. But so what? You know?
So
So what? Why is that wrong? Why is it wrong? Why is it wrong? Good.
So first question, what's that got to do with atheism?
Because whenever I mentioned to you, this has to do with slavery. There's people there who are under slavery, and in the leader's mind, they are more evolved or have more of a value than these other people, because they don't see objective value in human life.
Again, what's that got to do with atheism? That's another ideology. That's a communist ideology. Mm-hmm. That's not an atheist. There's no atheist ideology. Atheists don't believe in God. That's it. There's no atheist ideology. I don't think like that. I'm an atheist. I don't think people are cows and you can herd them or enslave them. I don't understand your point at all. And there was many Christians who still wanted slavery because it said it in the Bible. So I don't know what you talk. I don't understand what your point is.
Yeah. Well, my point is I don't understand. Okay. All right. So I've already said that is a dangerous thing to tell someone off the bat. Okay, it's a dangerous thing to tell someone. If you're a humanist or if you're a slave trader or a mass genocide person, your fate is the exact same. Okay, that's a dangerous thing to tell someone.
What do you mean by fate?
It's a dangerous thing.
What do you mean by fate? When you die, what do you mean by fate?
Fate.
What do you mean by that? Explain what you mean by that.
Like we're both going to be pushing. Do you have that expression in the UK? Pushing daisies.
No.
You're going to be feeding worms. You're going to be worm food either way.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Definitely. 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no evidence. There's no evidence of any afterlife. So okay. I believe there's no afterlife, basically.
Right. So you may think that telling someone that there's a hell if they misbehave, that's a bad thing. Okay, that's understandable. But I'm telling you, if I'm judging these two things, telling someone who's thinking about doing a mass murder, a mass genocide or something, that there's not going to be anything that's going to hold them accountable for the lives that they are destroying, that is a dangerous thing to tell people as well.
Well,
I would say that's far more dangerous. Dangerous.
Let me hold you there. There's homicidal and genocidal maniacs that have killed as many people. Hitler was a Catholic. You know what I mean?
Hitler was not a Catholic. Come on.
He was.
Hitler was not a Catholic.
On the belts of all the soldiers, it said "In God Utz." So in God we trust, or whatever it said. So Hitler wasn't a Roman Catholic. I'm not saying he was a devout Roman
Hitler
Catholic.
Was not a Catholic.
And the Roman Church and the Catholic Church had a pact with Germany, the Nazis. So Hitler is a Roman Catholic. Yeah, exactly.
That is not true. Hitler was an occultist. Hitler believed in some weird Norse god. He was okay. Oh, so I was brought up Christian and I became an atheist. I became a pagan. So what you're growing up as doesn't mean anything.
So it doesn't matter what you tell someone. If there's if they believe there's hell or not. So some people would like those children that have killed themselves because they believed without evidence that they was going to go to hell if they sinned. So some people are more influenced by what you tell them. Some people ain't bothered. So I suggest that these communist dictators are not bothered if they think or don't think there's any kind of afterlife. You don't even know really what Kim Jong-il or Kim Il-sung, whatever it is. You don't really know what they believe. They've got power, but have you asked him? Do you believe in an afterlife? We don't know, do we?
Well, I mean, I will tell you this: his grandfather was a minister, and so his mom was very religious as well. So I've actually interviewed on the channel someone who went and did aid work in North Korea. By the way, let's break this up for a second. I heard you just had your grandkids over for the first time. How was that experience?
Wow, it was very good, very good, very good. Let me just say, because my daughter probably watched this. I had my grandchildren. My wife went to work, unfortunately, and so I had to have them on my own. Sorry, I'm just getting my charger. I had to have them on my own, and to say I was tired is an understatement. So, but it was good. It was good fun. The little boy is 6-year-old, very easy. the little girl that's a 4-year-old, harder than I remember. But it was all fun in the end, so it was all washed out. It all worked out. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. My daughter actually is just turning 4, and she was actually born right in the Pyeongchang Winter Olympics. So now the Olympics are coming around again right now, and actually, let's talk about that real quick. People from the UK, I've seen them do well in the past in the winter sports and summer sports as well. Have you got a chance to check out the games?
Yeah, there's some good athletes. Yeah, some good athletes in England. The first minute mile, my ad was by an Englishman, Roger Bannister. There you go. So we have had some very famous athletes.
And is soccer, or I'm sorry, football? Is football actually a winter? Not a winter. Would it be a summer sport? Is it a sport?
No, it's a winter sport really here. It's kind of. I mean, I'm not a massive football fan per se, but it is the national game, and it's massively followed every weekend. It's during the winter months, though, I believe. Like I say, I'm not an expert, but it's the biggest following in England. Absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah. Some people take that really seriously. I went to Thailand, and there's these guys who were from, I'm not sure if they were from Manchester, but Manchester was their team, and they all had Manchester United tattoos on their arms. These guys, listen, I've been around people who drink a lot. I've never seen anybody drink as much as these. They were like 4 or 5 of them, and they were all like 20 or 21. These guys literally were biting the tops off of beers, the bottles. They were biting the top, and then they would take like 8 or 10-second shots of like vodka. Like I could probably do 2 or 3 second shot. These guys were like go 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 go. I mean, it was crazy, but that's neither here nor there.
The UK, binge drinking is kind of a UK pastime.
Yeah,
and I know, and I've done it many times because it's such a laugh. It's such a bit of escapism. It's such a laugh, yeah. Absolutely.
You last question. What is your favorite beer there in the UK?
I mean, to be fair, for me, I'll go out for the social side. I have a massive laugh. The beer's kind of incidental, and I do drink Carling Black Label, but during lockdown, I never touched the drop. It's literally because I go out and the beer's there. I mean, if the lads and that went to a library, I'd go to that library and have the laugh there. So for me, beer's incidental. So I'm not really a connoisseur. So you know what I mean?
Sure. And actually, I still do some social drinking, very, very light, because I was a former alcoholic. So that is something that I got to really be careful with, because I don't know, every year maybe I might get carried away once or twice, but that was like a weekly occurrence. So I do got to be careful that.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I don't need to touch a drop from one year to the next, but I choose to go out and I drink. I can drink 10 to 20 pints of a Saturday, depends on the day. Yeah.
Oh my God! But you're like that's funny.
It's purely for the social side. It's just a laugh.
Yeah, I gotta say one last thing. I saw that this Australian soccer stadium had to put limits on people.
Yeah,
they put a limit of 32 beers on the people because people were getting so drunk. And I'm like, do you really even need to do that? 32 beers, like who the heck could drink that many beers? So,
it's such a laugh, though,
right.
Go on.
So getting back, to let's get back to North Korea for a second, because okay. So let me say this. You don't believe in an actual soul, correct?
No evidence of a soul.
Okay. So you don't believe in a soul. So what is it very specifically that gives humanity like some sanctity behind it? If we are like if we are, I guess we're not technically descendants from monkeys, but we have the same ancestry. But let's say we have
monkeys are our closest cousin, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's say we're our cousin.
So
Right.
let me just put that into perspective. Actually, the Christian genius scientist Francis Collins is a genius scientist. He was the leader of the Human Genome Project, and his work
Right.
alone fully proved evolution. So
Oh,
he saw the
absolutely.
split. He saw the split, didn't he, from chromosome 1 and chromosome 2? Yeah. So evolution is literally just a fact. So the
Yeah,
creation,
absolutely.
the creationists that doubt that, if you're on the line listening, mate, just look at the evidence, please, for God's sake, or for
Well,
for Jesus' sake, whoever you want to take for. But evolution is so we evolved that way, yeah. So we're social animals. The ones that looked after each other throughout the years, throughout evolutionary years, have survived. So our instinct through evolution is to look after one another. This is humanism right from the get-go. The ones that didn't look
okay.
after each other, this is all true. This is all evolution. So the ones that did look after each other didn't prosper. They died out. So there was different human species. So the ones that did look after each other, whatever, died out. This is just evolution. So the ones that prospered, it's innate. It's in you as well. So the humanism helped us survive, basically. Yeah. So looking after each other.
Yeah. So are you a fan of Dawkins, by the way?
Yeah, it's genius. Yeah, absolute genius.
What about, were you a fan of Hitchens?
Oh, the Hitch, man. If anyone's watching, if Mr. Dawkins ever comes across this, Dawkins, love ya. Christopher Hitchens, absolute genius. Absolute genius,
Okay.
yeah.
Interesting. Okay, I do want to. We'll get back to the evolutionary thing right now in a second. I actually am a Christian evolutionist because I do believe that God had to have created it somehow, and so if
So,
God used the Big Bang or a brick crunch or something, He would have had to have done it in some way. You know, like I don't believe He just like boom, everything is here. Like I don't know. I guess some Christians believe that, but that's not really something I believe in. You know.
of course, you believe that without evidence, and evolution is massively evidenced. So you've got no evidence for your belief, but the evidence I accept for evolution is the evidence. So
Okay,
that's where we
okay.
differ.
So, but even if so even if we did say absolutely it happened, I don't see how you would think it's a pretty big stretch to say that that could happen completely by itself,
We
because
don't know.
the
We don't
statistically,
know. We don't know the origin of life. Abiogenesis has been looked at. We just don't know the origin of life yet. Doesn't mean a God did it, though.
so
That's called God of the gaps.
God of the gaps. Well, I would just say, I mean, if that's what if you're able to believe in that,
I believe in what?
because here's hold on. Here's what I'm going to say. Because whenever we're presented with this argument that if you believe in God or a fire-breathing dragon, you're told that giant or like extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence.
Yeah.
Like that's the one that atheists. So if you're making a claim that this all just came about by pure chance, all of the let me finish. If that's what you actually believe, I got to tell you, and from my perspective, that's a more extraordinary claim to make, to think that could happen by pure. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, no evolutionary biologist or a Big Bang cosmologist claims anything like that. We simply do not know. We can't see before Planck time, so we don't know the origin we don't know the cause of our local universe, and we don't know the origin of life yet. So no one is claiming anything. We know evolution happened from first life, but we don't know the origin of life. Abiogenesis is being looked at, but and the Big Bang. We know the Big Bang happened, and that was discovered by a Catholic priest. George Lemaitre, I think it was. But we just don't know the cause of our local universe. It could have been something before. If there wasn't before, we just simply don't. We can't see before the Planck time. So no one's claiming it happened by chance. All we know is we just don't know yet. That's it.
Well, but the okay, so you could. It's a pretty easy ladder to walk down here, okay? Because either something created this, or something didn't create this.
No, you're saying create. You're saying create. You can't use the word create. You need to use cause.
So either something caused it or something. Okay, something caused it. Let's just say something caused it. So if it wasn't intent, okay, let's call it intentional. Okay, either something intentionally caused this or something intentionally didn't cause it. Correct? Is that fair?
Yeah, that's kind of fair. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So if it was unintentional, let's just assume that for a second. That's a lot of things that would have to go right, like consecutively. So
Yeah.
so okay. Let me tell you this fact right here. So do you like to play cards?
Now you gotta come up with a fine tuning argument. Yeah. So I know I've heard it all before. So, but it happened. So it's a 1 in a billion chance, but it
Yeah.
happened. So it's a 1 in 1 chance because it happened. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't matter
Well,
if you can work out the you know the chance, whatever doesn't matter. It happened. We are here. We
yeah.
don't know the cause.
So
That's all we can
well,
play.
hold on. Just let me just finish Let me just finish this thought. But do you like to play cards?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. What do you like, bridge or rummy, pinochle?
Yeah, either. Yeah,
Either. You like spades? You play spades?
yeah. No, yeah. Go on.
Well, so this is a crazy reality, though, that every time that you shuffle a deck of cards,
Mm-hmm.
it is statistically impossible for that ever to have existed before, because it's like the 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 likelihood of it being in the same exact order, if you work out the math, it's like
Yeah,
finding one electron in like one atom in the whole earth. It's like not
yeah.
even statistically. So if something like that happens, you say that's not even a statistical possibility. They just say
Yeah,
it's flat out impossible.
you have got it there though. You've got it in your hand. So it did happen once. You've got it in your hand once. Those cards are in that order once. So it has happened. To work out the statistics, I get that. Mind-numbingly amazing to work out. But you've got that deck in your hand. That has happened once. Ergo, the universe.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So, but the thing is, the only point I'm trying to make is that if you were to shuffle, because magicians will do these kind of things, they'll shuffle a deck multiple times and then they'll
Yeah,
turn it around and you'll see that it's absolutely back in order. And the
yeah.
way that they do that is they shuffle the. I love watching magic
Oh,
online.
yeah.
But they shuffle the cards at like in an angle, and then they could strip it out and put it back together. It makes it look like they shuffled the cards, but they really didn't.
Yeah.
So it's an amazing feat though. Whenever you see them do it, because they're like,
That's an
there's a guy
illusion.
who's blind and he does.
Yeah,
What was
it's a
that?
good illusion. Yeah, it's a good illusion. Penn and
Yeah,
Teller,
yeah,
if
yeah.
you want to.
So,
Yeah,
oh, Penn and Teller. Yeah. Oh,
I
Teller's
love.
an atheist.
Yeah, he's a massive
No,
atheist. I
Penn
love him. Beautiful.
is it Penn?
Gillette, Penn.
Penn
Yeah,
Gillette. Penn Gillette's an
yeah,
atheist.
Penn Gillette. He's
Yeah. So,
absolute genius of man. Go on.
yeah. So I don't know if this is why, like, if you were to ask me where God come from, I think this would really piss off some Christians, because I'm like, I don't know, man. Maybe God was a result of the Big Bang. Like, I can't explain how God got here. So it's like, if that's like a question, I would never even try to answer that. That would probably be my best guess, because to say that he always existed doesn't really make any sense to me. So I would say, if you believe in the Big Bang, well, maybe he evolved and then mastered physics and then rewound the clock back and started. I don't know.
Maybe,
How would you ever
maybe,
figure that one out?
yeah, maybe. But
So
I mean,
I think
for me, writings in the Bible, even pre-Bible, the Hinduism, the Hindu text. I forgot what they bloody call it now. I think they're just man's
the Bhagavad Gita.
initial first guesses. I mean, I got this from Stephen Fry. Mr. Fry, if you're watching, no, these are man's first guesses, and Hitch said that actually. The men's first guesses of science, of nature, and it's their first guess, so it's their worst guess. You know what I mean? Science has buried more gods than are alive now. Do you know what I mean? No one really believes in Zeus now, or Apollo, or anything like that. Some people may do, that's fine, but those gods are dead now, and eventually, hopefully, your god will be dead.
Well, I don't know about that, because I highly doubt that one. But I will say this: I have hiked Mount Olympus, and it's very easy to see why you would think God lived on Mount Olympus, man. As you're starting to go up, the fog starts.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. But there wasn't there, were
Yeah,
they? So Zeus and his boys were supposed to live up there. He's
look,
there.
right. They went
There you go.
but the point is that I could definitely. It's like it was like literally. It's like Lord of the Rings, like the Desmolution of Smog, whatever. Like you go to that thing, you're like, wow, this like looks really mystical. It's almost like you would have some kind of religious experience up there because it's like it's so awe. You're in so much awe.
And to the uneducated and to the unscientific, you can tell them things and they'd believe it, and people do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not having a go at you, but if you lived in ancient Greece, you'd probably believe in Zeus. You know what I mean? But you live in your time, in your space, and your parents, and you just so happen to be a Christian now because I believe you've been indoctrinated and it's ingrained in you at the moment. I think. So well, I don't know. I'm only assuming there, but you was definitely indoctrinated. You've admitted it. If you was indoctrinated in Hinduism, maybe I reckon you'd probably go back to Hinduism. I don't know.
Yeah, I have heard that people wind up going back, but I mean, I'll just say this: 4 months prior to becoming a Christian, I was in Greece there with my girlfriend. My girlfriend was from Greece, and I was living with her. A lot of fornication. I went to Israel. And I actually got this tattooed on me. This means self-reliance. That was the atheist philosophy that I was trying to tell you about, which means just self-reliance. And
sorry, again, there's no atheist philosophy. Can I just say that again? There's literally no atheist philosophy. But go on. No atheist has got a philosophy.
Okay. Do you not believe that carpe diem would be an atheist philosophy?
Absolutely not. Atheists don't believe in God. That's it. There's philosophers who philosophize. But there's no atheist philosophy. Absolutely not.
But again, by definition, this is going to be the only life that you have. So you have to seize the day, right?
Yeah, that's what we believe. But some people, all atheism is, though, is they don't believe in God, yeah? Some people choose to seize the day. Some people are miserable and moan every day. So all atheists are different. So atheists don't believe in God. That's it. I'm a seize the day kind of guy. Absolutely. I'll live every day as I can. I laugh every day. Trying to get that over to my son, as it happens at the moment.
How old's your son, by the way?
He's 21, and he's bloody miserable today. I've changed my job, actually. I'm a manager now at where he works, just to see more of him. But he's so bloody miserable today. Will, if you're watching, but he needs to realise, he's got a bit of a crap job at the moment. He hasn't got a girlfriend at the moment. But, he's 21, for God's sake. Have a laugh.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, flipping out.
You're starting your life.
Yeah, man.
Man, and I wish I could go back and speak to my 21-year-old self because there was a lot of experimentation, lots of... actually, you know what? I do want to wrap up this pretty on the hour here, but I will say this. Recently, there was this bloke from Scotland, and he was like a rapper, and he pretended to be from California so he could game the UK, the London scene. It's called Sibyl & Brains. Have you ever heard of this guy?
What's his name?
It's the craziest story. It's the craziest story I've ever heard in my life. Okay.
No,
because he got rejected because he was a Scottish rapper. Yeah, I'll send you the podcast we did with him.
Yeah.
But he came down and he faked like he was from America and he knew Eminem and everything. And then they eventually found out about him, and he had to he lost everything. So, but I asked him on the podcast, like, what would you go back and tell like your 21-year-old self? Would you try to persuade him from going down that route? Because I've thought about this. Would I go back and change all the crazy stuff that I did, all the drugs, all the prostitutes? And at the end of the day, I just have to say, no, I wouldn't. I wouldn't go back, because that gave me such a rock solid faith in what I did find after experiencing all that. And he said, I was so surprised because I thought he would tell me, he wouldn't have faked that. But he was like, the only thing I would have told myself, he goes, because you don't know if I wouldn't have done that, where I might have been otherwise. So he said the
Yeah.
only thing I would have told myself at 21 was like to just have more confidence. Like you could do
Yeah, man.
things that you don't think that you could do. And
Definitely.
yeah.
Definitely that.
So do you got any last thoughts? I just want to make this well known that we never try to solve any one issue on a single
No,
podcast. So it's like
too hard.
we
It's too
put
hard.
down flags in, we build
Yeah.
rapport, and next time we can unpack some other things and
Yeah,
come
brilliant.
back with some more information and
No,
stuff. So,
tell
but do
you
you have any last
what,
thoughts?
no, I literally, it's my first ever podcast. Really, really, really enjoyed it. I really appreciate it. We got a good vibe going. Yeah, great. No, I'd love to come back on again. Please invite me again, and we can thrash
Now
it
that
out
you're
again.
not, yeah, now that you're not cussing me out anymore.
Okay. Yeah, I can't apologize.
Hey,
Apologize
well,
for that.
one of my atheist co-hosts is from the UK, and
Okay.
that guy, like in America, you do not say the C word, and it
Yeah,
rhymes
no.
with bundt cake.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
that is
told
how
my
he
wife I
greets
did
me.
it. Yeah, no,
That's how
that's
he
good.
greets me. He's like,
Yeah.
"What's up, C word?" And I'm like,
Yeah,
"Whoa!" Like I
it's a
thought you
term of
guys are
endearment.
supposed to be. I'm
It's a term of
German.
endearment. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm like, I thought you guys are supposed to be all proper and tea sipping and you
No,
made the English language and
that's the
every other
Hollywood
word this
version.
guy uses is
Yeah,
the
that's the
F
Hollywood
word. It's like
version. Yeah.
it's not even a curse word. It's like a
No.
comma for the next sentence. But yeah, you know what? I do want to thank you for your time. And before we go, I do want to tell you one last thing. As I said, these issues are really complicated. And
Yeah.
if I were to say that I knew 1% of this topic, I would be a liar. You know,
Oh, yeah, of
um,
course.
if I were to say I knew maybe a half of a percent, I'd probably be a liar. So it's like I'm trying to learn, I'm trying to grow. I've learned a lot from my atheist co-hosts. They challenge
Yeah.
me, they challenge my ideas, and I think it's very healthy and helpful right now with um, the Olympics going on. You know,
Yeah.
there's competition,
Mhm.
absolutely, but that's one thing. When my daughter was born, I went down there and I was crying like a little baby because
Mhm.
yes, everybody wanted to win, but there was
Yeah.
so much goodwill. There was so much unity, and there was a spirit of humanity at the last Olympics when
Absolutely.
my daughter was born.
Yeah.
And that's why
Brilliant.
I cried like a little
Mhm.
baby, man. And
Mhm.
so we may not, we were not even in the same country, we're not in the same continent. We have different religious views, but if we can sit down and have civil conversations like this,
Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
think the planet wins. So,
Yeah.
so the last thing I want to tell you is, we support five different uh,
Charities, yeah.
nonprofits, and
Yeah.
yeah. So one of
What
them is
happened?
for North Korean One of them is for
Refugees,
North
yeah.
Korean refugees. North
Okay.
Korean refugees. Another one is for single mothers in South Korea.
Brilliant.
Another one is for an organization we're helping Nazis. They help Nazis and KKK members deconvert. Then
Brilliant.
we also have anti-bullying for the LGBT community. And
Brilliant.
then another great organization is an Israeli/Palestinian peace organization. They help. It is former terrorists who
Right.
now work with um, the parents of slain Israeli citizens, and they work together for the cause of peace. And I got to spend some time with them in Palestine. So it's a great
Well,
organization. But which one of those interests you? Will we make a donation on your part to them?
wow. I mean, they're all incredible.
Right, right.
I mean, let me just say, I'm incredibly lucky to live in England. We've got kind of we get a bit of terrorism, but not on the scale of the Koreans and Israelis and whatever. It's absolute.
Mhm.
I'm in shock and awe, basically. So, I mean, any one of them, they're all really, really good. I'll be honest with you, they're really good. I couldn't choose. Literally can't choose, to be fair.
All right.
No, I can't choose because they're all really good, to
Wait,
be fair.
I think I didn't tell you this one. We also support an LGBT anti-bullying campaign.
Yeah, I
Maybe
mean,
that would interest you.
yeah,
Yeah,
I've got
because
nothing against. I got nothing against the LGBT community. Absolutely no chance. So yeah, go with that one. That's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah. So
no one should be bullied.
Yeah, absolutely. Because even even if I might disagree with something about someone's life, that doesn't give me a right to go out and attack them and try to hurt them and stuff. So I have my own opinions, but it's like, we're on this planet together. We're being plugged into this universe on the rock together. And so as we're here, we should just try to be peaceful and so on. So I do want to close off with this.
Yeah. Go on.
Yeah, I do want to close off with this. I want to say that you can check us out at www.rhepodcast.com. Check us out at Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can check us out at YouTube. And, we're having conversations like this, respectful conversations. And so if you'd like to come on as a guest, send us an email at rhepodcast@gmail.com. Check us out at Spotify. And we look forward to seeing you back again. Goodbye.
Brilliant. Thanks very much.